Hello everyone, welcome back to Study Room. In this video, we will be studying about coal and petroleum. So these both are fossil fuels and we use them in different purposes in our day-to-day lives. So let us see what we have in store, right? Can you recognize one common thing between these two pictures? What is the one common thing that we have? The one common thing is fuels, okay? So this is a picture where we are using coal as a fuel and this is a picture where we are using petroleum as a fuel. So in the trains of older age, like around 50-60 years ago, we used to have coal trains, okay? So in that, coal used to be the source of fuel, and nowadays we have electricity as a source, but in older times we had coal as a source of fuel in trains, and we have this petroleum which is used generally for vehicles like cars, bikes, motorcycles, etc. So these two are actually fuels, and what we have in common is fuels, right? They both are used for running different kinds of vehicles like trains, cars, automobiles, etc. So fossil fuels, that is coal and petroleum, which are important sources of energy for us. Coal and petroleum were formed from the degradation of biomass millions of years ago, and hence these are resources that will be exhausted in the future, right? So these are non-renewable resources, and these were formed when organisms were buried on the earth, buried inside the earth, millions of years ago during the Carboniferous era, and in that, after that, by gradual degradation of those organisms, the fossil fuels were formed deep inside the earth. Since the Industrial Revolution, we have been using increasing amounts of energy to meet our basic needs for the manufacture of a large number of goods upon which our lives depends. Okay, and these energy needs have been largely met by the reserves of coal and petroleum, which are fossil fuels, right? So let us see coal and petroleum. Coal and petroleum are the fossil fuels, as we discussed just before, and they are important sources of energy, as we know that they are used as energy sources for running different kinds of things like vehicles, trains, automobiles, etc. And since the Industrial Revolution, we have been using increasing amounts of energy to meet our basic needs and for the manufacture of a large number of goods. So these energy needs have been largely met by the reserves of coal and petroleum, as you know, right? And coal and petroleum were formed from the degradation of biomass millions of years ago, and hence these are the resources that will be exhausted in the future, and hence these are non-renewable resources, right? Non-renewable resources. So this is a very important point, that these coal and petroleum are fossil fuels and they are non-renewable resources. Fuel is most commonly used in internal combustion engines for transportation, and recent research concentrates on ensuring complete combustion in the engines in order to increase efficiency and also reduce air pollution. So these fuels are generally used in automobiles and the engines that are used in the automobiles and for running them, And in the recent years, we have been focusing on complete combustion of these like the fuel, so that pollution can be reduced, right? And then we would need to look for alternative sources of energy as well to reduce pollution. It is estimated that our known petroleum resources will last us for about 40 years, and the coal resources will last us for another 200 years, right? So petroleum will nearly last us for 40 years, and coal will last us for next 200 years. But if we use them in a managed amount, and we manage to reduce the amount of their usage, then they can last us for more and more times. So we need to focus on that. We need to understand that we use them continuously. They are not, as they are non-renewable resources, so they may be exhausted with time. We'll be studying about the effects of using fossil fuels. When fossil fuels are burned, the products are carbon dioxide, water, oxides of nitrogen, and oxides of sulfur. So there are 4 things that are formed, right? Carbon dioxide, water, oxide of nitrogen, and oxides of sulfur. So these things you need to remember: carbon dioxide, water, oxides of nitrogen, okay, oxides of nitrogen, and oxides of sulfur, right? So these are the 4 things that you need to remember. And when combustion takes place in insufficient air, right? Insufficient air, okay? Insufficient air, then carbon monoxide is formed. Carbon monoxide is CO, okay? This is formed instead of carbon dioxide. Of these products, the oxides of sulfur and nitrogen and carbon monoxide are poisonous at high concentrations, and carbon dioxide is a greenhouse gas. So in the exam, you will be asked that which gas is a greenhouse gas. You will be telling that CO2 is a greenhouse gas. And which gases are poisonous at high concentrations, and you will be saying those are oxides of sulfur and nitrogen and carbon monoxide. So these 3 are the poisonous gases at high temperatures. If the amount of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere increases, it will lead to intense global warming. Thus, we need to use these resources judiciously. As we know that carbon dioxide is a greenhouse gas, and hence it is very, very instrumental in rising the temperature of the earth, which is this phenomena that is known as global warming. So carbon dioxide is a contributor to the global warming, that is a recent phenomena happening on the earth, right? And it rises the temperature of the earth gradually with time. So this is the phenomena of global warming, and carbon dioxide is a very, very important contributor to it. Now we have to think over and come with eco-friendly solutions. Now we have certain options that are given here. The first one is taking a bus or using your personal vehicle, or walking or cycling. Which one will you choose? I would rather choose walking or cycling because this is an eco-friendly solution. Now the second option that we have is using LED bulbs or fluorescent tubes in your homes. So I'd rather use LED bulb rather than using fluorescent tube, because LED bulbs are more energy efficient. The third one that we have is using the lift or taking the stairs. Of course, we will be taking the stairs because it will save the energy, right? And the fourth one that we have is wearing an extra sweater or using a heating device on cold days. So I'd rather wear an extra sweater than using a heating device, because it will save energy, right? So we can rather wear a extra sweater and become eco-friendly. So that was all about coal and petroleum, and we discussed about the fossil fuels and how they're affecting, how they're useful, as well as they're affecting the Earth's atmosphere and causing pollution as well. And also, they are a contributor to a large amount of energy resources on Earth, and also they are used in different purposes till today, and they are non-renewable resources, and they can't be replenished with time. That is why we need to use them judiciously. So that is all about these coal and petroleum resources. Thank you so much.